Oh my goodness, man. Elias Pettersson is back, and Elias Pettersson is out here doing things that only Elias Pettersson can. 5-point night. The shootout winner almost had 6 points too. There is a reason why this was the only untouchable player that the Vancouver Canucks deemed in their organization, and we saw that at full display today. Now, I know what some of y'all critics might be saying. Wait a minute, Lego, you were thrashing on this team the entire time. You're saying they're bad, you're saying this, you're saying that, and yeah, 100% I still abide by all of those things. But the one constant that I always said was there too was that, hey, if the Vancouver Canucks win a game, if the players score goals, if they make very good, exciting hockey happen, then I'm not gonna boo that. Like, sure, I'll boo when they're playing like crap, which we know happens a lot. But for games like this, where they're down 5-3 to Seattle, on pace to losing the very first game against this team ever, and then they claw back to win, that is excitement. And you saw all the sentiment in the building too. I feel like a lot of Canucks fans just sort of feel the same way, that if the Canucks decided to rebuild, if they decided to sell the team, if they decided to trade everybody, okay, that's fine. But when you see games like this, it still gets you excited. And we saw that today, actually, because on the, I don't know if it was the first or the second period intermission with Satyr Shah and Ian McIntyre, there was somebody in the background that put on their Snapchat a little drawing on their phone saying, "Sell the team," and that was put on the TV. But as the game went on, you saw Canucks fans getting excited, you saw people cheering their heads out. The Kraken, every time they touched the puck in overtime, there were boos raining throughout the arena. When Pederson scored the shootout winner, people were hyped. When they scored the goal to tie it, people were hyped. And it's just kind of a testament to the market we're in, man. Canucks fans were nuts. There were chants of sell the team the other night in the 5-1 loss against whomever. And now everybody's excited because there was just probably the biggest win of all. Now, before we get into the actual game stuff, I want to make this very clear. Because of a win like this, I'm not going to go out there and say, oh, the Canucks should not trade Horvat. They should try to re-sign him still. They should keep everybody, not trade anybody, and try to make the playoffs. That's not what I'm saying here. We can talk a little bit more about the Canucks and their direction tomorrow. But ultimately, let's get into the game here because we had ourselves 10 goals and, what is that? 3 shootout goals to cover. And the first period is kind of where things started to go wary. Because right away, I was kind of saying, okay, the Canucks are going to lose this game. Oh my goodness, the amount of turnovers, the giveaways, Morgan Geekie, a point-blank chance in front on Martin. This is not going to go well, and that sentiment was confirmed by the first goal of the game. It's Jared McCann. Remember Eric Branson? Yeah, this was the guy they traded away to get Gutty. Jared McCann, outside the Canucks zone, fakes like he's going to go rim it around the boards, and Martin ends up leaving the net prematurely. Instead, he drives it in towards the far side post and scores a long one from outside the Vancouver zone. I've never seen a wrist shot dump in go in before like this, but it happens. Spencer Martin gets the short end of one of the weirdest goals we've seen all year. 1-0 Seattle, and honestly, it was kind of deserved. I mean, the shot attempts in the opening few minutes were 11-0 Seattle, so Vancouver definitely did not have themselves those chances, but towards the end of the first, they actually tie things up. It's Andrei Kuzmenko who sets the puck down in the neutral zone. Petey is the guy who takes it. He comes right down the left side, and as he approaches the goal, the left-handed shot on the left wing throws it across for Lane Pederson, who scores his first Vancouver Canucks goal. It's 1-1 at the end of the first. Pederson from Pederson and Kuzmenko, my fantasy team, thanks you very much, Andrei, for the offensive contributions here tonight. But the second period gets underway, and it was a 2-on-1 from Petey to Petey, or Petey to Petty, Pederson to Pederson. Well, the Kraken respond with a 2-on-1 themselves right at the start of the second period. It's Schwartz right across to Bjorkstrand, who makes it 2-1. And then, just a few minutes later, JT Miller loses a defensive zone draw. The Kraken control. There's a long shot from the point, and it's tipped in by Daniel Sprong. 3-1 game partway through the second period. And based off how the Canucks were playing, I was getting prepared to making another video. Hey, Elias Pettersson is good, but he can't save the team. No Petey big problem? Well, yes Petey, sort of problem. Maybe the Canucks can lose a game and we'll get ourselves the rebuild started earlier. How about that? I know it's probably a little impulsive to make decisions based off of one individual hockey game, but if they had lost tonight against Seattle with the way they had performed in the first few minutes, let's say 3, 4, 5-1 even, if they had lost this game in that sort of fashion and they decided to tear it all down tomorrow, it wouldn't have been a one-game sort of decision. It would have been based off of everything else we had seen. But the Vancouver Canucks get themselves some good momentum afterwards as Burrows and Tanev get into a scrum. Burrows absolutely goes to town on Tanev, and as a result, the Canucks have some momentum. Eventually, it's Luke Schenn at the point. He takes a terrible shot right through, and it gets tipped in by Petey for his second point of the game. It's 3-2 Seattle. Unfortunately, the Canucks give up the next one. It's Wennberg who gets a very nice passing play out in front. Martin gets caught way out of position. The Kraken make it 4-2, and at this point, at the end of the second period, start of the third-ish territory, I'm kind of saying, at least it was good while it lasted. At least Pederson has 2 points. I mean, they're not going to come back from a 2-goal deficit in the third period based off of how they've been playing tonight. Right? And then right away, at the start of the third, beautiful passing by the Vancouver Canucks here. Pettersson goes cross-crease to Pederson, who throws it to the goal mouth, and it's Andrei Kuzmenko right there to bury it out in front. 4-3 with 14:45 to go. And then the Kraken come back and they do it again. This is what I mean, the Canucks, man. You can't say that the way they're playing games and winning games is sustainable when they're winning like this. Tyler Myers with a silver-plattered golden biscuit dipped in gravy saucer dish pizza throws it right over to Brandon Tanev. He's trying to break it out, but he gives it right over to Chris Tanev's younger brother. And eventually it's a nice play in front for Sprong, who makes it 5-3. And, yeah, that was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Are you kidding me? What a bad play by Myers. This defense, man. You can't blame Martin for that one. That was all Tyler. Give it a few minutes, though, and the Canucks get themselves a power play opportunity. They're down by 2, with like 10 minutes to go here in the second period or whatever it is. And eventually, it's Hughes who goes over to Petey. He takes a shot, but no, it's not a shot. It's a slap pass right to Brock. Back door, it's 5-4 with 11:08 to go. What a deflection there by Brock Boeser on that power play unit. I was kind of talking to my buddies on call saying, hey, why is Brock on the power play, man? Get Kuzi out there. And then Brock scored right after I said that. So good on Brock for getting back on the board here. Good on Petey for his 4th point on the night. He's got 3 assists and a goal at this point. And with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go at the empty net, Pederson ends up tying it. Miller goes to Hughes. The shot is blocked. The rebound gets played out to the side. Miller over to Petey. The one-timer, he buries it by Jones. 5-point game for Petey. 2 goals, 3 assists. And he is on top of the world. You saw the Canucks fans in the bleachers, the Canucks fans rattling on the glass, how excited everybody was in the building to see this goal go in. That's hockey, baby. That's excitement. And even if you're on Team Tank, Team Rebuild, Team Playoffs, whatever, you can acknowledge that that was an entertaining freaking period of hockey where the Canucks ripped our hearts out with Tyler Meyer giveaways and other goals, but then they scored themselves to get back into it. And ultimately going into overtime, it's tied. The Canucks had a stint in the overtime period where Miller, Petey, and Hughes all hit red iron. And in my mind, I was thinking, okay, the Kraken are going to win. Like, after you have 2 posts and a crossbar in the span of like 3 consecutive shot attempts, there's no way the Canucks are going to win this game, right? But a few saves later, and a shootout later, the Canucks end up pulling it off. Goals were scored here by JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, and Jordan Eberle. The Miller goal was a typical Miller goal where he cuts out to the left, goes into the middle, and instead of trying to make a move, he notices that the bottom right is open, and he just shoots it far side. Martin Jones, easy, no problem at all. Miller gets that to go. Eberle then scores to extend the shootout on Martin. He goes far side up top. And Elias Pettersson is the guy who buries it at the very end, who tries to go backhand, forehand. He actually gets stopped by Martin, but Petey shoots it so hard that The puck actually slips underneath Martin's pad, even though he had the pad there in the first place. It goes in right by. It's 6-5 the final score. Vancouver wins this one in a shootout. The Kraken still have not beaten Vancouver ever, which is kind of nuts to me, especially considering how good they are this year. But at the end of the day, Elias Pettersson is the heart and soul of this team. Like, I'm sorry, Bo, you're the captain, but this is not your team anymore. This is Petey's. And this game showed off why he's an untouchable player. Sure, this win might have set the rebuild back by another 2 weeks or so, but at the same time, that was fun. Very entertaining hockey for Vancouver. We'll see what they do tomorrow when they head out to Edmonton. But either way, talk in the comments all your thoughts about this Canucks game. The 5-goal comeback. The fact that they were down 5-3. They were down 4-2. The Canucks had so many opportunities to wither away, but they were carried by one man and one man only. Elias Pettersson, everybody. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Juraj 99. And bye.